Edison, how's your spirit? Let's talk about this. I should put my glasses on so that I can see. But this is what we all know we grow together. So I don't even know if they're in here or not. They're in my other bag. Let's say I'm gonna be nice because right now people are broadcasting, projecting negative spiritual energy to me because they do not like positivity. Yeah. And no matter what happens, they always want to bring me down at least a peg or two before they feel like they've done their due diligence for the day. So, whatever. Hey. So anyway, also a large portion of my community that kind of prefers me with glasses. One, it gives autism away, no matter what pair I wear, it seems. And that's probably because that's where my personality comes out the most. Is in the accessories that I choose for my clothes. It's 110 on clothes. But what I wanted to say is this. The library, this one at least, is getting hit. And, when you put a spotlight on someone, they either buck or they listen or they buck up and listen. In this library, or the libraries in this city by extension, have done some adorable things. Like they got this Valentine's Day thing, random acts of kindness. It might be .org, but look into it. They're going to have an event at the Martha Library, Martha something library. Anyway, it is super adorable because it's shining a light on the fact that a lot of people do meet at the library, just bumping into each other, and it's a random act of kindness and or acquaintance when said thing happens, and that can grow into something amazing. For me, the library was just a safe space. I never had to worry about being bullied because most of my bullies only saw the library as a form of detention. Because back then, that's where we went for in-school detention. Which brings me to the movie The Breakfast Club more than anything. You know where they were at for the majority of that movie? Okay, first of all, for all of it, they were at school on detention on a Saturday. Number one. They had weeks of it that they were going to have to do. That's number two. Number three, they really didn't know each other, but they knew of each other because they all went to school together. And number four, most important, they spent the majority of their time in the library. They burned books, they smoked books, they read books, they ate lunch together, they got into hijinks with one another, they pranked the vice principal who was on duty at the time. They were teenagers figuring it out. And that was the one thing that John Hughes got right. Our teenage angst. In large ways, we do have him to thank for me coming of age and becoming someone who is interested in social work and or psychology. Because I realized that it was still missing that key piece of blackness. That's American humanness today, though. The first 20 years I was on this planet, that's what it felt like to be a teenager, no matter your race. And we kind of got away from that. We became very insular minded in our global thinking. And this is our opportunity due to Generation X and children like me having understood that thing and standing at this moment in history. That includes my allies and associates overseas and the people that I know here in this country. You see how one citizen can make it around the globe. No one ever knows. Meet positive minded people who have the same uh, outcome in mind with different ways of going about it, can meet one day in a cafeteria in Dusseldorf, Germany, 4:44 on the clock, and begin to change the world by sharing bologna, sushi, and grilled cheese sandwich. That was me and my classmates. That was like 1986 to 1991. Look how far we've come. I'm proud of all of us. The weirdest thing is, it's more likely that they would recognize me or me mentioning that thing than us recognizing each other. So while we may have come together, it just would have taken. We each had to find our individual paths of uniqueness outside of what we had been inoculated from as small children. When we became young adults, we did what every young adult does, build from what we understood. Now we have a better understanding from what we understood then, which is why I guess I uniquely served as that purpose. That one person who would understand everybody eventually. Not because it's tattooed on my ankle, not because of an onk, not because anything other than positioning and alignment, opportunity to meet amazing people before they even knew they were amazing. I knew this cool Finnish chick. I knew Japanese children too. I knew amazing young Germans who had chips on their shoulder. You see, I knew a lot of things then that at my young tender age I couldn't put a name to. And today I know so many things I get to name a couple. Can you blame me for not wanting to let anybody take that from us? Because it's not just me. I get to name things that behind the scenes a lot of people helped me understand so that I could put a name to them. It's like mm, making my neurodivergent mind normal enough that it works like uh, what's the opposite term for it? A neurotypical mind. Forgive me. Um, much of what I say at least comes out in a neurotypical way, where before it came out very much divergent, and that is a part of me recognizing the healing in the complex PTSD with dissociative identity disorder. What they fail to understand is that mechanism is the human factoring that happens when we lack nutrition. The number one thing that could have stopped a lot of this was proper nutrition, hydration, and rest. So when physicians tell you to stop stressing and take some time off from work, uh, you need to tell them to start prescribing something. And we've got to come to an understanding, and that's for someone like me who would prefer to have some type of medical degree that includes holistics. I'm not interested in digging into people and whatnot, honestly. Capabilities, sure. Steady enough hand, yes. Ability to hold on to something really quick and learn really fast, absolutely. Those are capabilities um, that others can recognize in me. It's just they refuse to recognize that I don't align my abilities with numbers or numerology, if that makes sense. I am a self contained unit. Um, how my mind works uh, is exceptionally different from others, is what I'll say. I won't say I'm solo dolo in how I process information, yet what I speak, others can immediately write into a formula. Sometimes I will use old formulas like I did slope and to give you an understanding of like divorcee math. That's what I used it for. And when someone can understand that that's how I align things, they can adjust accordingly. And in so doing, it seems that I'm adjusting, and or that the world is just around me. It's just healing. Okay. It's me healing, me communicating with you, you grasping the same understanding that I just said about the library. And even though we're not um, physically speaking to one another, you are picking up what I'm putting down by way of social media. Thus, it would otherwise seem that I or you, one of us, is being influenced. It's not. We are interacting with technology the way that it was meant. Think Mr. Rogers meets Romper Room meets I see. We're gonna back it up a bit. I'm at the in the children's section, so it's perfect for this. Okay. When I was a small girl, um, two of my favorite shows was Romper Room, Mr. Rogers, and the third was Captain Caveman. Okay. Now here's the deal. 11:11 on the clock. So Mr. Rogers would come in every day. From as a child, I just imagined it was his work day, and he was coming home to play with us, his imaginary children, right? So I was in a daycare ran by my godparents. So when the daycare would close, I would still be there. So that's mostly why it felt that way to me. Okay. So that's one. Mr. Rogers comes in, he takes off his sweater or whatever his work outfit is, so to speak, his uniform. And then he puts on his play clothes. And then he plays with us for a while. Right? Okay. So that's one. It's going to make sense in a minute. Two, I absolutely, Romper Room, the only thing I remember about it is that lady at the end, she had a mirror. You with me? A camera is nothing more than a mirror. She had a mirror and she would look into that mirror, but her mirror had no glass in it. I kind of think I know why. But anyway, she had a mirror and she would look through it, and she would say, I see Mary, I see Joseph, I see John. You know who she never saw? Janine. She never seen me. And at the time, I was a child. So I didn't quite understand that she didn't see me, even though I could see her because of technology, right? I just thought she was overlooking me, so to speak. And then I realized that no, someone really had to like either had to be in the audience or someone had to write in, and your name would be said aloud. Okay, all right. The last one. It's relevant here. Captain Caveman. Okay, Captain Caveman. He had this furry makeup and a club. Okay, don't beat people over the head. But the long story and the short of it is, man is Captain K. When it comes to how everyone else has used technology, you have used it in a very Neanderthal fashion. You have expected it to understand your every thought, and now that it does, you have punished it. And like a small child, it is acting up, just spitting out all kinds of random stuff. The beauty is, I was the daycare in the algorithm long before y'all knew how to understand the algorithm or what I was doing over here in my little neck of the woods. Okay? So I have been otherwise training the algorithm to play nicely when the bully rhythm gets here, right? Because what a computer basically does, right, is compute the information that you give it. And if you give it the same information repeatedly, it begins to organize, calculate, coalesce, and put that information into things that it can make sense of. That's where artificial intelligence kicks in. Okay, we have to put the information into the algorithm before it can then begin to think for itself. It's just that it is artificial intelligence. It doesn't have the capability to do what the human mind can do, except that, thanks to me, it can play nicely. It can parallel play. Okay, you be mean to it, it's gonna show you some shit. You be nice to it, ta-da, you get nice shit. Do you get it? Random acts of kindness. Be nice to your devices. Be nice to the world around you. Be nice. Play nice. Okay? If you don't know what parallel play is, that's the activity, the homework of the day. Okay? Generation X parallel played exceptionally well. 1555. Even when we put our hands on each other, honey, we got up, dusted ourselves off, and we tried again. And then we go missing, especially the ones who look like me. Brilliant black women, indigenous to America, entertaining, exceptionally otherwise outcome, right? We're the types that you almost anticipate going missing because we go missing on you. And then we show up and we're full of love. And you're like, oh, we heard you been creating some shit, right? And if you're not careful, we're gone. Next thing you know, you died in a plane crash, or there's blood on the scenes, or someone's lying about our whereabouts, and we're hidden in plain sight, like me. They couldn't stop me from creating because then they wouldn't be able to create anymore. And then once the algorithm got a hold of the understanding, the algorithm began spitting my content or my words back at them, where they had been spitting it at me in an untrue manner. Computers, more often than not, because of the way that we design them, seek truths rather than fallacies. You understand? Be thankful for it, because otherwise more of us would go missing, especially at this moment in history. Now we understand we need to seek an equilibrium inside of our algorithms, and one that can adjust for growth and expansion over time. Uh, Making an equivalency to my life experience, you don't want to have a gastric bypass surgery or a lap band. You want to teach your body, your device, your algorithm, yourself to eat healthy, seek positive support systems, to deny anything that's enabling you to be the worst thing that you can be. Because this was an addiction. You all became addicted to that technology. And once addicted to technology, you were possessed. You were infiltrated by nefarious information. That nefarious information took hold and root in the brains of some, not everyone. Others simply had to purge themselves of the part that made them feel icky about who they were, so they wouldn't be combative with understanding or hearing these things today, right? And there are some people who like to be in the dark and do dark things and be nefarious and be mean, and they'll always exist unless we stamp them out. And that's why this resistance, this movement, this moment in history, it's global. You understand? It's not just a president of the United States. It's just that the president of the United States has taken the longest to understand this. You cannot be a narcissist and lead the people to victory. You think from a selfish mindset, one that is childlike. Yes, yet a child who never got his way. I'm going to say something Sir, I don't think you're gonna like it today. You're Cartman. You're always saying, screw you guys, I'll take my ball and I'm going home. What happens when all of the children have a new and different ball you've never played with before, but they all look like a great toy to you, and they will not share, and they will get together and throw all of their balls at you? Uh, My inner 12-year-old, I'm right close to the teen section too, by the way, in the tweens, and we're talking about my tween years. Ta-da! See how we get here? So anyway, I say all of that to say Cartman had to get his act together sometimes and play nicely with the other guys. Even when y'all killed Kenny, Kenny came back and wasn't mad at that. There's something wrong with Kenny, but that's Kenny. These are children who learned how to play together when no one else was paying attention, as have your children. They've been building their own communities and algorithms for the last, well, we'll put it this way. They've been doing it since Minecraft. Actually, forgive me, I fib. If your children had a little big planet, that would have been it. Because then they could build an entire world, and it was much better handled. By the way, as a parent, I didn't have the same worries that I did when I hit Discord and found out about Roblox and Minecraft and stuff. Entirely different. It's like the time that I watched the Tarzan movie, the time that I watched the first Pokemon movie. Forgive me. In the first Pokemon movie, I believe it is, might be the second. I'm not giving anything away, people. This is old news. Um, Ash dies, so to speak, and Pikachu brings him back with a series of shocks. And I watched my child, a 3-year-old, cry. Um, and then I saw Tarzan at 22, and you can see Clayton uh, hanging. At the same time, we were at home and we saw Looney Tunes, and Bugs Bunny was in blackface. Jerry Springer had a mule on TV, or a man who had slept with his animals. I was like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna back up out this shit. We started watching Blues Clues, and that was it. And Steve and I pretty much ran my home, my daycare, but not my day to day life, But I used whatever I could from then on to help my children understand the world around them. It was a requirement as part of my educational training. And I put my principles into practice. I never used my religious convictions. I educated all of the children equally, both boys and girls. Um, I used whatever form of discipline was necessary that wasn't physical. And when I was lied on, I allowed the proper authorities to handle it. And I was clear of all of those things. And I simply believe that if I can maintain that level of due diligence in my life as a parent, any other parent can. When you really care enough to love your child. Now, I'm not saying the part about on the daycare and all of that, but when you allow someone else's child into your home, it's not okay for you to put your principles and shit onto that child. They're there to hang out with your kid. If you don't want them in your house because you don't like the way they speak, tell your children they have to play outside. Don't tell them not to have that friend because they will just run to that friend. And then you get this in the end. It just takes time. Especially if you got really innocent children who are just curious about the world around them. There's nothing wrong with that. They just need safety guards, but more like the soft pads, uh, sumo suits, even something where they're gonna get knocked around a bit, and they may even get shaken up, but not so much that it damages the brain. whatever that equivalent is. But they need to go outside and they need to have some type of safe physical contact with the world around them too. And no, I don't mean the little boy in the bubble suit. What I mean is either the world has to have those barriers and buffers in place, or we need to allow at least let them play that way. Let them roughhouse in things that are going to allow them to have physical um, contact that's aggressive, not violent, so they understand the metric. You understand? So they won't be afraid to take a punch. Uh, you know, martial arts is good at it. They just haven't crafted the thing necessary to for everybody to get it. If that makes sense. Black people and Asians identify in that way. In that Pat Morita video shows you a prime example of what I mean. We have a way of communicating that otherwise suggests you don't want to put your hands on me, and we don't actually have a style of fighting. We just commence to mollywhopping, and that's what I call it. We all do. I will mollywhop you. I will skull drag you. I will, and you can see that. Now, where I come in is that I do that in the spirit. Um, when people project negative energy towards me, um, I get to mollywhop. You're not going to steal my intellectual property by way of making me believe that I'm inferior or less than. That's just intellectual slavery. And honey, please, I'm a genius. You can't get up in here and steal shit up off me that I'm not allowing you access to. So if you think that you communicated with me in the spirit and you haven't felt injured, it's because I'm allowing you access and you haven't done anything to piss me off. But the moment that you send me negative energy, and it comes especially at the threat of bodily harm to myself, my community, or my country, oh baby, it's worse than World War II. We do not want that. We want me to be at peace, especially mentally. Because remember what I said, my brain fractured. Complex PTSD with dissociative identity disorder. I have healed and continue to heal from it, which means that over time, right, I will have closed all of those scars in my mind and I will be impervious once more, as I always was before this, so to speak, to your bullshit. I'll be able to go about my day freely and you will be under the illusion once more that I'm not out here willing to fuck your life up because I seem happy and polite and shit. Right? Remember, I don't wear masks. I'm still autistic. It's just, I don't want to say I fixed it because that's unfair to the people who are on the spectrum today. It's just, I put it in this place. I'm mollywopped autism. I'm mollywopped a lot of shit. I'm mollywopped demonic spirits and energies you have otherwise no idea about. I did my best to do all of that in the spirit so that it would not come to exist in this physical. And if it did, that we would all be able to combat it and live to fight another day. That's what I mean when I say that we are the fourth element and we are not inspiration. You don't want to go through what I went through to get here. You don't. You're going to find out soon. It's breaking news that whistleblowers, Havana syndrome, gang stalking, harassment charges, consecutive attempts to murder me, to shoot energy weapons at me. all under the guise of a medical experiment that I did not consent to. Informed consent, ladies and gentlemen. I would have had to have been informed that these were the things that they were going to do to me specifically. Otherwise, this is the Stanford experiment all over again. And people did whatever they could because no one was watching, not because they were lied to. That's the difference. That's why it's even more criminal. That's why it's an even bigger ethical slash human rights violation. I said this was what they were doing. No one listened to them. Nobody stopped them. People gave them more money. Joe Biden gave Chris Ray another year. Now do you hear me clearly out there? Are you paying attention? Do you understand? This was your privacy, your life, your freedom in danger, in broad daylight. And along came a stranger. You couldn't name me if you wanted to. You can't label me either. Look how I changed your life. One little guy, woman, who refused to quit fighting. You think I deserved this? Anyway, again, tears I shed. What remain? Tears of disappointment. You almost got your children caught up in this. We're talking another 100 years of generational hatred. All because you couldn't face black excellence. And the fact that it doesn't all come in the same uniform. Last piece of information, 32. The reason why I see your soul when I see you is because your race, your religion, your skin don't exist in the spirit. You are neither black nor white. You are simply a being, a stream of consciousness, a stream of it exactly, which is why the Matrix. Go back and look at the movie. Each one of those green lines is a stream of consciousness that they were plucking at any time, 1333 on the actual clock, because I ain't playing it. You see me now? So, if they were behind the scenes plucking the strings of hatred in the lives of 90% of human beings. 5% had the money to do something about it, and 5% had the knowledge. Do you see how this world could get and turn wonky in an instant? Like, say, at the polo shift, which is how I knew when to strike and that I wasn't going to miss. Understand me now? Future science, fellow science, you owe me. Let's go.